Motor Speedway. They're lean. They're mean. They're 5-7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars. We're past the halfway mark in the 2025 spring season of the Coast to Coast Racing League, and Monday nights are starting to get exciting with the points in some divisions still tight at the moment, especially for our first division of the night. We welcome you to another edition of Monday Night Madness here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, brought to you by our friends at Flatline Racing Bodies. We begin tonight, as always, with the Open 358, sponsored by our friends at Venom Racing and Full Throttle Motorsports. We're here at the Lanier National Speedway, Lanier Raceplex in Braselton, Georgia, where we've got some exciting racing here tonight at this tight little short track. We're so glad you could join us here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Marty Sakala with you. Well, last week we had a good race at Lernerville Speedway. Unfortunately, we were not able to be on the air with you, but it was the number 107, or the 007 rather, of Sam Bachman coming from 9th to 1st to take the win, having an average running position of 1.9 that entire night long. Coming on in, he's got a tight points lead. Again, this does not include drops in effect after our first half of the race this season. It's right now been dominant from the FTM team. They hold the top 5 spots in the points. Bachman leading by 14 on Clay Christopherson. In fact, he's in a tie for second with Anthony Morano. Dean Reynolds is fourth, 24 points back. Then Mike Brewer 2 weeks ago won at Oswego in Coast to Coast action. He's 88 points behind in fifth. Well, checkers just waved here on practice with Dylan Kinsey, the quickest at 13:45. 21 drivers have showed up this evening for Monday Night Madness for the Open 358s, and we'll get on with the show here on to qualifying. First driver we watch on the track, we'll watch B-Town Brandon Templeton in the dirt track bank number 31. 2 minutes on the clock here in qualifying. 2 laps as quick as you can. Templeton running the open 3:58. This is his 4th start of the season with a top 5 on the year. Sets the bar to 14:27. As you see the purple come up, Joseph Grandi quickest in qualifying. He's rocking a 14:186 at the moment. Templeton improves up to 2nd, 14:27 on lap 2. Here comes Grandi across the line. Is he better on lap number 2? Just off at a 14:31. Here's Dean Reynolds driving the number 79 off for turn number 4. Is he better at the line? Yes, 14:27, 14:269, stays 3rd though. Here's the jokester Michael Vitale in the 213 LFM machine. Making his way through 3 and 4, rolling the bottom. Sam Bachman, meanwhile, quickest of all drivers in Sector 1. He goes 4th, 5th quick on lap 1, 14:312 for the 007. Slower in Sector 1 this time. Is he slower in Sector 2? No, he's better. We'll see how this stands. 2nd quick for Bachman. 200ths off of Grandi, 14:206. Kelly Wheeler in the 110 off of turn 4, 14:32 on lap 1. Lap number 2 slower, 14:37. So that'll do it here for qualifying, and with the quickest time, it's Joseph Grandi, 14:186 over Sam Bachman, Brandon Templeton, Dean Reynolds, and Michael Vitale. So our first qualifying of the night is wrapped up. We're ready for heat race number 1, brought to you by our friends at Gambler Motorsports, a proud team of the Coast to Coast Racing League. Harold Klump will bring the field to green. He drives the number 2 car to his outside. It's Rick Main in the 187. Row number 2 FTM teammates, Dean Reynolds driving the number 79 to his outside. It's Hunter Joseph Grandi in the 518. Row number 3, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83. Glenn Sharp next to him with a 99. Rounding out the grid, Pat Boyce driving car number 41. If you're just joining us, we're glad you could join us on the Coast to Coast Racing Network plus Slide Job Network, Racing Network. Marius DeCalla with you. Let us know who you're rooting for. Trevor Giroux checking in chat, not with us tonight, but he's rooting for FTM. Trevor, when you get a moment, check the Venom General Discord. Check the General Discord on Venom Racing. Not sure if you saw what I tagged you in. But we're ready to go for a fun night of action. And of course, Open 358 is brought to you by Venom Racing and Full Throttle Motorsports, the two key teams in the Modifieds in the Coast to Coast Racing League. Always love to come out and race whenever possible. These cars will be a part of next week. It's great to think that it is 7 days out. Super Dirt Modified Week, May 6th through May 8th, benefiting Honor House. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. I know Dean Reynolds has been really key in setting that one up. Everyone makes it into the show. Winner on pole for the 30-lap feature. Green is out for Heat 1. Good start for Klump with a 2. Main staying side by side with them. Field makes their way through turns number 3 and 4. Lap number 1 across the line. Give it to Rick Main. Grandi try to look for a run around the outside and grab the 2nd spot. Main a little bit tight through turn number 2. Nearly clips the wall, but still wheel to wheel with the dirt track on toll number 2. Klump up the hill for just a moment. Grandi able to move up to the 2 spot. Dean Reynolds now watching closely as he rides in the 4th position on board with the 79. Here we go, 3 wide for the race lead. Main up top, Grandi in the middle, and downstairs is Klump. Grandi officially moving up to the runner-up position. Now can he get the bite and find his way past Rick Main? A great battle for the race lead. The 518 been pretty good on the bottom side of the corner. They touch with Rick Main, and Grandi edges him out at the line. Was a 10th and a half better last lap compared to the 187, and Grandi able to clear Rick Main. So your fast timer in qualifying, now running first in Heat 1 as we've got 3 laps to go in our opening heat. Klump 3rd, Reynolds 4th, Dittmer 5th, Sharp 6th, and Boyce rounds out the field in 7th. May not done just yet with Joseph Granny. Nearly clipped the wall. Still thinks the Cush is the best way to go. I'm not too sure about that. Here comes Clump with that number 2. Trying to fight back and get the 2nd spot. Regret to the Raymainer's run. Started 2nd thanks to the invert and now is running 2nd at the moment. Final lap underway here. You know who's going to win this heat race. It's 100 grand Joseph Grandy, who finishes 2nd. Clump trying to get a look on Rick Main off at turn number 4 as Grandy takes the win. Main 2nd, Clump 3rd, Reynolds 4th, Dittmer 5th, Sharpen 6th, and Boyce 7th. But your Heat 1 winner in the Catalytic Recovery number 518, 100 grand Joseph Grandy taking the checkered flag and starts on pole tonight. So we're set for heat race number 2. And this heat race brought to you by Regency Home Inspections, proud partner of Venom Racing. As Brad White is on the pole, Brad in the 814. Next to him, DK Dylan Kinsey in the 639. Row number 2, the Jokester Michael Vitale in the 213. And Sam Bachman next to him in the 007. Row number 3, Brian Moore Sr. in the 055. And to his outside, it's Bob DeGood in the Sweeteners Plus number 7. Final car on the grid is the Mayor, Steve Bixler in the 75. Field rolling off here for their first of 2 pace laps. Can everyone transfers? Winner starts on the outside of the front row. As I mentioned as well, Super Dirt Modified Week coming up next Tuesday, May 6th through Thursday, May 8th. With 75-lap 358 feature at Oswego and 100-lap big block feature at the Steel Palace taking place on Thursday. All proceeds honoring Honor House, open to all Coast to Coast members or any new that are 3,000 I rating or less. $10 for one division, $15 for both. We'll be broadcasting live thanks to Slide Job Racing Network and Shaggy TV. Winner starts on the front row next to Joseph Grandy. Here we go. Two by two off the corner. Kinsey trying to get the edge on Michael Vitale. Bachman has 3rd spot cleared from Brad Waite, who had to start from the back. Lap 1 led by Kinsey. Jokester still trying to get around the inside, just like Joseph Grandy. DK able to clear, going into turn number 3. Bachman still 3rd. Brian Moore Sr. 4th with company on the outside. Bob DeGood, the 7 in the wall after some contact. Everybody, though, able to hang on to it for right now. Here comes Bachman. Takes a peek downstairs on Vitale for P2. And Vitale able to edge out Bachman for right now. DeGood and Moore still duking at it for the 4th spot. No worrying about trying to make it in the top 4. Everybody in the show due to the car count this evening. Bachman's got Vitale cleared. 2nd spot is his. We still focus on the race for the 3rd and 4th spot. Great exit from Brian Moore Sr. He clears DeGood for the 4th spot, on board with the 7 with 3 to go in the heat. Vitale still looking underneath on Sam Bachman, but they're losing a lot of time to Dylan Kinsey, who just set the fastest lap of the race moments ago at a 14:40. About 400s quicker than Bachman and Vitale at least. Here we come to the white flag. Final lap underway in Heat 2. So DK looking to start on the outside of the front row this evening. Just make it smooth through 3 and 4. He's got it. Checkers wave. Kinsey wins heat race number 2. Bachman 2nd. Vitale 3rd. Moore 4th. DeGood 5th. Bixler 6th. And Waite 7th. So 2 heats down. We now move on to our final heat race of the night, brought to you by Mauer Farm Management, proud partner of the Retreads division. Bud Molyneux on the pole, driving the 83 to his outside, the Bandit, Randall Dixon in the 011. Row number 2, Kelly Wheeler, driving the 110 to his outside, beat down Brandon Templeton in car number 31. Row number 3, you've got Butters, Jason Butterfield in the 93 to the outside. It's the Brute to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. Final car on the grid, you've got Putt Putt, Clay Christopherson in the 51. Gotta tell you, very weird looking at Butters' scheme. First time I've seen it. And no black and pink 93 anymore. I'm trying to see what the main sponsor is on the side. I see Super Dirt Car Series. I see Dino hooked him up pretty well. Get the rest here in just a matter of moments. The Magic Ant-Man checking in. Anthony Morano, yes, we miss you. Oh, okay. So Butters has Garofalo's Imports. Or Garofalo's. I believe that's the... Is that the sausage place in Oswego? Yes, it is. That's what I thought. I haven't had it, but I hear people tell me it's delicious. Doug Elkins, who I believe used to do coast-to-coast work for us, tells me that it's incredible there. The sausage is good. All the subs are delicious. May have to consider checking it out. But yes, Anthony, going back to you, we are starting to miss you on the track. Final heat race set to go. Winner starts inside of row 2.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag waves for the final heat race here. Bud Molyneux gets off to a good jump on Brandon Templeton. Kelly Wheeler third. Oh boy, Templeton gave Molyneux the bumper for a moment. Nearly 3 wide for the third position. Lap 1 is led by Molyneux. Here comes Wheeler underneath on Templeton. Trying to get Bite off the corner. They stay door to door. Templeton catches the wall. And this could allow Jeff Barker at the same time to maybe make a move for third. Ooh, look how tight that was. Templeton nearly clipping the outside wall. Wheeler trying to move up to the second spot still. A little bit of a faster car compared to Templeton at the moment. Molyneux still not able to pull away from any of this. Everyone knows the tail. Randall Dixon, for those wondering, did not take the green flag. Wheeler for the race lead, up to second. Now Molyneux shuts the door up on Templeton. Oh boy, top 3 all get together in separate ways. But Wheeler says thank you very much from Molyneux clipping the wall and the 110 to the point. Look at this tight pack racing. You're right on board from the aerial shot with 3 to go. Templeton trying to thread the needle. Can Wheeler clear Molyneux for the lead? Staying side by side for right now. Off of turn 4. Wheeler edging out Molyneux by a hair. 2 laps to go. B-Town trying to play a factor in this one as well. Still trying to thread the needle. Give Molyneux credit for still fighting on the 110. Can he get a great exit off of turn 4? Yes, he can. Stay side by side with Kelly Wheeler, but Molyneux will have to send her deep in the corner. Now Templeton trying to make her 3 wide here. Going through 3 and 4. Who's going to start third tonight? Wheeler, Molyneux, Templeton. Give it to Kelly Wheeler. Ho ho! That was awesome. So with that, we'll complete heat race number 3 and move on to warm-ups. We'll step aside. Stay with us on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. back here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network as warm-ups are continuing here at the moment. Dean Reynolds currently the quickest car at a 14.38. Dylan Kinsey second, just about 200ths back. Sam Bachman third at a 14.41. Michael Vitale fourth, 14.45. Brandon Templeton fifth at a 15.46. Excuse me, 14.46 rather. Don't forget, we've got Super Dirt Modified Week coming up a week from tomorrow, beginning tomorrow, May 6th, with qualifying plus our heat race. That all starts at 6:45, followed by on Wednesday, our B-Mains and Post Scramble, followed by the championships on Thursday. Both 358s to big blocks you can watch right here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Time now for our first feature of the night for our Open 358 mods. Let's beat the field and give you your starting lineup. On the pole, Joseph Grandy, 100 grand of the 518. Next to him, it's DK Dylan Kinsey in the 639. Row number 2, Kelly Wheeler in the 110 and Rick Main in the 187. Row 3, Sam Bachman in the 007 and Bud Molyneux in the 883. Row number 4, Harold Klump driving the 2 car and Michael Vitale the Jokester in the 213. Rounding out the top 10, B-Temp Brandon Templeton in the 31 and Dean Reynolds in the 79. Row 6, Brian Moore Sr. in the 55, and Butters, Jason Butterfield in the 93. Row number 7, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83, and Bob DeGood in the 7. Row 8, the Bird to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513, and Glenn Sharp in the 99. Row 9, the Mayor, Steve Bixler in the 75, and Putt Putt Clay Christopherson in the 51. Final cars, the grid, Pat Boyce in the 41, and Randall Dix the Bandit in the 011. 3 drivers starting from the rear tonight. You've got Randall Dixon, Bob DeGood, and Brian Moore Sr. that receive feature EOLs. Picks to win this evening. Give me the driver of the 639. Give me DK from outside of row number 1. Again, let us know who you're rooting for. Tony will be there for the charity race, and he thinks that believes that Kelly's gotten so much faster, and I definitely agree. Steve King Foundation pace car on pit road. First feature of the night. Time to shake and bake. Grandy and Kinsey, bring us to green. It's time to get it on. Up the hill goes Kinsey, catches Rick May. Around goes the 639. Detmer, Barker, Bixler, Sharp, no yellow flag yet. Somehow we stay under the green. Lap 1 led by Joseph Grandy. He's side by side with Kelly Wheeler. I don't know how we did not get a caution flag, but I guess that's just iRacing for you. Wheeler trying to edge out Joseph Grandy for the race lead. The 518, your Polter's got him clear. Bachman still third. Now we got a side-by-side battle for the 4th spot. Main against Harold Klump. Wheeler still with a nose underneath on Joseph Grandy for the lead. This is on board the 110. First yellow waves, we got Dittmer around in the 83. And it sounds like 2. Bixler and Boyce are also involved, but first thing we need to look at, though, without question, has to be the deal with Dylan Kinsey and DK. My apologies, man. I jinxed you. You can blame me all you want. I don't care. Grandy and Kinsey actually touched. That gave Kinsey no yawn to turn number 1. And there was just nothing the 639 could do. I still don't know how the heck this was not a yellow. That's just ridiculous on iRacing. It's normally for our rules, it's iRacing that controls the yellows. So I don't know if iRacing was drunk or something or what. And here's a look at what happened with Bixler. He's racing with Pat Boyce for position. And Boyce simply eats him into turn 1. And Dittmer already cleared up high with nowhere to go. Actually does a nice job to dodge him, but I think rear-ended Pat Boyce. Field is doubled up, ready for our first restart of the night. Joseph Grandy, Kelly Wheeler, Sam Bachman, Rick Main, and Harold Klump round out the top 5. 4 laps complete in our feature. We're ready to come back to the green. Randy able to hold serve. Bachman trying to take advantage of this restart. See if he can move up to second past Kelly Wheeler. Main held up. Oh, look out, mid-pack Butterfield. Spotted the pit road in the attenuator. Vitale and Sharp involved. Not sure if we completed that lap. But Butters with a very tough break. He's sent to the rear without question. But coming in on pit entry, I don't know. I hope he doesn't get held a lap or so because of it. This time, this was a mid-pack stack-up. Watch the 93 of Butterfield. Catches glove and then got turned off of Vitale. It's just a stack-up from there. On board with a couple of cars. We'll watch Glenn Sharp, then we'll go to Randall Dixon. Look at that parking lot in turn 4. Let's watch the Bandit here. See how final on board. I think we're coming back to green this lap too. Got on the binders, able to dodge that without taking any damage. So there's Butterfield, he drops to the rear. This says lap number 6, so that lap was counted before we went to yellow. So this will be a double file restart, and I believe will be our final one coming up here. We're gonna watch this from our aerial camera. Grandy and Wheeler, row 1, Bachman, Main, row 2, Klump and Templeton, row 3, Reynolds, Molyneux, row 4, Christofferson and boys round out the top 10. We are ready for the restart with 6 laps complete here at Lanier.
Green flag, green flag.
Bachman and Main race for third, but it's 3 wide to the 187, thread the needle, a little bit of slight Nerf bar contact, but Rick Main trying to go 2 for 1 here. Through 3 and 4, they stay 3 wide. Wheeler's got second, a dead heat for third. It's too close to call. Templeton following suit, hoping something happens, but it doesn't want to happen directly in front of him. Got it controlled down to 2 wide. Wheeler gets the bumper. The bumper contact. Bachman gets stored by Wheeler. Everybody hanging on for right now. Joseph Grandy last lap, quickest car on the track, 14:52. How about this 3 wide race for 6th and Klump in the middle? FTL making up the crust. Reynolds upstairs and Christofferson putt underneath. Oh, don't tell me they're going to go 4 wide here. They won't. Oh, Klump on the wall pretty good. Hangs on to it. He saw Templeton too catch it as we're a third of the way through. 10 down, 20 to go. VTEP still in that race for the second spot. Here comes Bachman underneath on Kelly Wheeler for the bottom step of the podium. See if he's able to get that done. They stay side by side. Grandy again, quickest car on track, 14:49 to 5:18. And he is pulling away and saying see ya to the pack. Now biggest mover on track for those wondering is Putt Putt. Christofferson, remember, started back in 18th. He is running in 7th. Next driver he's challenging his teammate Dean Reynolds for 6th. Templeton trying to test the cushion, but it's starting to get thin. Narrow lane, challenging on Kelly Wheeler, but got a great exit. Now looks underneath on the 110 for the 4th spot. Beautiful second half for Templeton. Can't make the pass work. He does have the preferred line. As the cross flags went up last time by. 15 up, 15 down. Templeton slide job on Kelly Wheeler. Beautiful slider. Put up in the wall by the 110. Both of them went up 3 wide. Dino says, let's go 4 wide this time. Christofferson took a peek. Still 3 wide. Dino wants to go 2 for 1. I bet you Dino maybe had a Code Brown moment. Buddy, too, if you're listening, get the fire suit change ready. But meanwhile, it is still Joseph Grandy, lead up to 1.3 seconds on Rick Main. Dino still looking for that pit spot. Wheeler's car starting to fade just a little bit after he started from 3rd. And was battling for the lead at one point. Good pass for the 79. He's got Keller Wheeler clear. Now here comes Putt Putt. Christopherson. Attention, Kmart shoppers. You got a little mellow yellow 2-for-1 discount going. Look at that pass by Christopherson. Up 13 spots now into the 5th position. Dino followed him. Gives him a little bit of a bumper. Here comes Kelly Wheeler trying to take away the 4th spot. Check that, the 5th position. Harold Klump now trying to be a part of it. 9 laps to go. What a phenomenal race this is for 5th. On board with Kelly. Trying to chase down that 51. Putt Putt though. Pulling away. The second biggest mover, for those wondering, is up 6 spots. That's currently Pat Boyce in 13. So Putt Putt with a lot of breathing room. We come to 7 laps to go. Randy still dominating this race at the moment. 1.6 seconds the gap on Maine. We've had some other racing on the track. Randy Dittmer, Bud Maudu, first side-by-side battle for 9th. Dittmer's closed in on Harold Klump. Remember, this was this mid-pack battle we were watching a little bit earlier on. Up closer towards the front. Sam Bachman following Rick Main, trying to force the 187 into making a mistake. We'll just have to see. This time across the line, 4 laps remain for $100,000. Got Vitale and Brian Moore Sr. in a race for 11th on the track. Kinsey up there as well, running 13th in that battle too. 2 laps to go at the stripe, meanwhile, for $100,000 in the Catalytic Recovery 518. Straightaway length lead on Rick Main at the moment. Trying to look for the sweep here at opening 358s tonight. And it'll be for Granny his first win of the season. White flag flies, final lap underway. 3 podiums on the year, best finish of 2nd a couple of weeks ago at the Oswego Speedway. The 518 makes his way through turns number 3 and 4. $100,000 takes the checkered flag. First win of the season comes at Lanier. Main in 2nd, Bachman 3rd, Templeton 4th, Christopherson 5th, and a car spun at the end of the race. That was Brad Waite with the 814. But it's Joseph Granny that has the perfect night in open 358s and takes the win. Top 3 will come and pose for a photo. Dino coming by to say good race. And look at the results as they come in. Christopherson, your biggest mover, as I mentioned, up 13 spots to finish 5th. A great charge for him. Heartbreak of the night without question. Dylan Kinsey from 2nd, but a recovery not too bad from 12th. 1 driver, DNF'd, and that was Jason Butterfield. So I think we are ready for the top 3, sort of. We just have Rick Main in, just waiting on Bachman and Granny to join, and then we'll get the proceedings started here. Don't forget Rebels coming up in just a little bit here on Coast to Coast Racing Network. All right, we got everybody in. Well, let's kick things off here with Sam Bachman. Sam, a nice run for you from 5th to 3rd. What's the positives you take away out of this one?
It was a pretty good race. I felt like maybe if I had a caution, maybe 10 to go or whatever, I could have maybe gave Rick and Joseph a little more run for their money, but Joseph was kind of a little checked out, and I was starting to gain on Rick a little bit. Scotty was telling me to go like a lane lower. It was starting to rubber up, and I went a lane lower, and I started kind of catching him. But it was a pretty good race overall.
What's the long run do for a driver like you? I'm not too sure if you were in that battle, which was a part of like Templeton, Christopherson, etc. But I mean, you missed a really good battle behind you. What can that do to a mindset?
Oh, it can do a lot too. I mean, you can obviously burn up your tires pretty quickly, trying to race everybody, and it just kind of throws you off your game a little bit.
Well, I don't know what the points look like with drops in effect, but I know if you were to put all of them together, you do extend your lead on Christopherson in the points. Who do you want to give shout outs to?
All the boys over at FTM, Gunnar at Swan Speed Shop, he's really been working hard on the dig for us. Dean over at Super Dirt Car Series, X for installation, Marty, you for broadcasting, and Coast to Coast.
Alrighty, man. Well, we'll let you go. Great job tonight on the run, and well, hopefully we'll talk to you again next week or later this Thursday.
Thank you, Marty.
Sam Bachman finishing in third. Let's go to the man that finished in second, Rick Main in the 187. Rick, a nice, decent run for you from fourth to second. Take me through it.
Yeah, honestly, Marty, I'm just stoked to be on the podium in something other than a sprint car.
Yeah, absolutely. That is true. We normally don't see you a lot in modifieds. We're normally talking about you in the Renegades division, but can you clearly tell the difference between running a modified and a sprint car? And do you think you got the modified all figured out?
We're working on it. I got to thank my teammate Joseph Grandy. He's really good in these things. So he was saying, hey man, it's gonna lock down to the bottom at this track. So, positioning is gonna be very important. So I knew I had to go on those restarts. I know that one was a little hairy. We were 3 wide there for a couple laps, but it seemed like track position was gonna be super key to having a good finish tonight.
Well, a great run regardless. Who do you want to give shout-outs to on the run?
Yeah, just all my boys at Inferno. We're doing a little revamp here, so we're going to get things kicking the right direction again. So hopefully this is the start of that. My guys at Hinkle Homes, D&T Designs, Highline Cinematography, and got to thank, Full Throttle Motorsports for putting this on, or as I like to call them, Quarter Throttle Motorsports. But, yeah, thanks, fellas.
We'll let you go, Rick. Great job tonight. Best of luck later on the sprint car.
All right, man. Thank you.
Rick Main finishing second. And now we go to Victory Lane to talk with your winner, Joseph Grandy. Perfect night for you in the Open 358. You look dominant out there.
Yeah, I want to apologize for that first lap there. And I'm not sure if it was on me or not, but if it was, that's my fault. It wasn't intentional. But yeah, I knew Lanier, starting on the pole, it was pretty good chance I was going to stay there.
It wasn't your fault. It was my fault. I was the one that picked Kinsey to win, so I kind of jinxed him a little bit. So you're kind of off the hook there. But where did you feel that you were maybe better than everyone else here tonight?
It just must have been throttle control, I guess. That's pretty much all Lanier is. Obviously, I think I get as far as outside as I can get to that tag while entering the corner. I think that helps a lot too.
Well, we know you were pretty good on the bottom. That really did definitely help you out and win the heat race in the end eventually too.
Yeah, I'm talking about when I get on a straightaway. I want to get as far up as I can and cut over. There's like a little bit of tag right before you enter the turn. You want to turn it in there hard and get down there. But yeah, good race overall. Back with Inferno, so congrats to Rick on second.
Yes, absolutely. Nice runs for Inferno indeed. What do you expect for the sprint car tonight if you're going to be running that?
Probably the same thing, honestly. Whoever starts up front's most likely going to win, and it's going to be hard to pass.
Unless it's Blake Chapman or Patrick Spangler, that's for sure. So, but hey, regardless, Joseph, a great win. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Yeah, I have Neil Wall, so I'll be in the back again. I'd like to thank all the guys at Inferno, Catalytic Recovery, West End Film Repair, Hinkle Homes, everyone else on the car, my girlfriend Olivia, everyone at Coast to Coast for what they do, and you, man, for doing broadcasts.
Appreciate the time, Joseph. Congrats on the win. Great job.
Thanks.
First win of the season for Joseph Grandy. We'll step aside when we come back. It's big action time in the Raiders. Stay with us on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. This time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion, trying to be a
Bit of a hiatus, so let's get.
Right when we were talking about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We're back here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network as we're preparing for our second race of the night, our Developmental Rebels Division, the B Division here. Our B Division in the Rebels, brought to you by the Salty Dogs Race Team. Welcome back, everyone. Marty Sakala with you as we get ready to go for this one. Well, the storyline is we will have our second different winner of the season. Yes, we are halfway through the series, and we will have our second different winner of the season. We put a bounty on Anthony Morano last week. Morano took the win. Anthony, I got that the 50 ready for you. You get a chance, private email me or PM me or email on PayPal, and we'll get that figured out. So, ready to go here for tonight in the Rebels. Here are how the points look with Morano. Currently leading 479 to 390, so 89-point lead on Gary Offut. Steven Fernberg third in the points with Brian Moore Sr. in fourth and the captain Gary Taylor in fifth. 11 drivers checking in. We'll send half the field this evening to the Raiders division as qualifying is now officially underway. First driver watch of the racetrack will be B-Temp once again, as he's always ready to go for qualifying by then. Drivers this time getting 3 minutes to set the pace here in qualifying. B-Temp will be the one to set the bar here. Lap 1, 1174. Jason Butterfield second, 1182. Kale Bixler up to second, 1176. Here comes Templeton off at turn number 4. And B-Temp goes 1179. Here comes Kale Bixler. Turns number 3 and 4, 1176. Jason Butterfield in his lap, qualifying. Here comes Dylan Kinsey off the corner. Brian Moore Sr., purple in sector 1, purple in sector 2. Senior, quick time, 11.589. 1:15.89 for Brian Moore Sr. As he goes to chop the charts on lap number 1. Putt with a slow lap early on here. I wonder if Clay's prepping for lap number 2. Oh, he's just getting set up for his heat race. I think that's what he's doing. I don't know, so. Still waiting for 3 drivers to take the track here with 90 seconds left here in quali. And these are the best times for right now. Brian Moore Sr., 11.589. Brandon Templeton second, 11.742. Cale Bixler third, 11.755. Dylan Kinsey fourth, 11.799. Jason Butterfield fifth, 11.822. Steve Maurer now on the racetrack in the Salty Dogs race team, 888. Lap number 1 for Maurer goes up on the board as he is 9th quick, a 12.176. Final lap for Steve. Much better lap for the 888. How does he go here? 11.98 stays a 9th. That will do it here for qualifying as Brian Moore Sr. will be the quickest. Should have 2 if not 3 heat races this evening. I would have to guess 2, 6 and 6. As we are just about ready to go. Don't forget Super Dirt Modified Week coming up Tuesday, May 6th. Charity event for Honor House with fixed 358s and big blocks. All culminates with a 75-lap 358 feature and a 100-lap big block feature, all at Oswego Speedway. 2 heats of 6 cars each, 8 laps. Heat 1 determines the inside line, and the second heat, the outside line. Here are the drivers that will vie for pole this evening. Heat 1 brought to you by Gambler Motorsports. On the pole, Steven Fernberg in car number 29. To his outside butters, Jason Butterfield in the 93. Row number 2, Cale Bixler driving the 789. And to the outside, Brian Moore Sr. in the 55. Final row, you've got Steve Maurer in the 888 ride. And to the outside, the General Andy Patton in the 87. Gonna go green this time by here. Again, if you're just joining us here on Coast to Coast, thanks for joining us here this evening. Let us know who you are rooting for in the chat. Butters was saying, Garofalo's, that's a copy of their 55 car from last year. They got great food. Green is out for heat 1. Good jump from Steven Fernberg as he makes his way through into turns number 3 and 4. Lap number 1 at the line, led by the 29. Green car battle here for the second spot. Fixler checking downstairs on Jason Butterfield. Nice exit for the 93 car. Stay wing to wing in turn 1. On board Brian Moore Sr. as he follows the 2. Oh, you saw Bixler nearly able to clear the 93 car. Orlo getting that slipstream off of Butters. Way off of turn number 4 at the line for third. Bixler edging out Moore Sr. Moore, who's running the Renegades in the past full time, now goes underneath. Slide job up on Butterfield. Second spot is his. They touch for a moment. I don't know how nobody went around there. That's insane. Phenomenal defense from the 93 car to hang on to second. Puts up a small slider of his own. Moore able to cross over. 2 laps to go here in heat 1. Another slider on the exit from Moore Sr. He moves up to second as Maurer clips the wall. Fernberg leading by 1 second, by the way, on Moore Sr. Final lap underway. Andy Patton did not take the green flag. That's why you don't see him on the leaderboard. You know who's going to win this heat race. Who is going to take second? I think Kale wants it, Pally. Took the risk. Doesn't work. Moore Sr. second. Butterfield third. Bixler fourth. Maurer fifth. Your heat 1 winner on the pole, Steven Fernberg in car 29. So heat 1 is now done. We move on to heat 2, brought to you by Regency Home Inspections. Here is the starting lineup. The mayor on the pole, Steve Bixler. The 75 to his outside. Slide job, Scotty. Scott Rayome in the 4. Row number 2, DK Dylan Kinsey in the 639. And beat Temp to the outside in the 31. Clay Christopherson, putt rounded out the grid in the 51. A lot of the FTM guys showed. I don't know how many of them showed up last week. Wasn't able to make it as I had another event that was conflicting. Again, we'll determine the outside line here. Winner starts next to Steven Fernberg for our feature. Green flag waves. Here we go for heat 2. Good start for the mayor. Able to clear Scott Rayome without any issues. Here comes Templeton underneath. Nearly makes contact with the 4 car. Lap 1, though, is led by the mayor. Templeton, not on the slide. Job doesn't work. And he slot, though, in front of Scott Rayome just barely. Try once again. Leaves her. Oh, they barely touch. Hang on, Scotty. Great save, but lost a lot of time because of it. And now Templeton and the mayor going wing to wing through 3 and 4. Bixler hanging on. Side by side for 4th, the FTM teammates. The 3 FTM cars in the back here. Rio, Christopherson, and Kinsey. That's something you don't see every day. Slide job, Templeton leaves Bixler the lane. The mayor hanging on for right now. Remember what Joseph Durante said in his winning interview, the low line may be the place to be in the feature. Not working out just yet for Templeton. Bixler hanging on with 3 laps to go. Rayome up with the wall, hits Christopherson. 51 able to save it, but Rayome cannot. He's in the wall hard. That puts Scotty into the fence. Kinsey and Putt race for 3rd. A slider by the 639. Christopherson trying to fight back. Final lap on the way here in heat race number 2. trying to get a look for third. Sends it in deep. Checkers wave here. The Mayor starts on the front row. Battle for third. Christofferson edging out Dylan Kinsey while Templeton finishes second. But the Mayor on the front row this evening. So with that being said, we will step aside and take a break. When we come back, featured time for the Rebels on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Stay with us. Warm-ups continuing here in the Coast to Coast Racing League Rebels Division. Brandon Templeton, the quickies, at a 12:166. Cale Bixler second, 12:18. Stephen Fernberg third, 12:19. Brian Moore Sr. fourth at a 12:20. And Dylan Kinsey fifth at a 12:23. Again, don't forget Super Dirt Modified Week coming up this Tuesday here on the Coast to Coast. Next Tuesday on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. But all current Coast to Coast members are new ones, 3,000 I rating or less. $10 entry fee for one division, $15 for both, $358 and big block. All fees going towards Honor House. And so with that being said, it is now time for our second feature of the night, Rebels Division. 30 laps, top 5 drivers, pending IL, are eligible to move up to our Renegades event for this evening. Let's meet the field and give you the starting lineup for tonight. 11 cars taking the grid. On the pole, Stephen Fernberg in the number 29. To his outside, it's the Mayor, Steve Bixler, in the 75. As the Steves are on the front row, Brian Moore Sr. starting third in the 55. Next to him, B-Temp, Brandon Templeton in the 31. Row number 3, Butters, Jason Butterfield in the 93. And Putt-Putt, Clay Christofferson in the 51. Row number 4, Cale Bixler, driving the 789. Next to him, it's DK, Dylan Kinsey in the 639. Running out the top 10, Steve Maurer in the 888. And Slide Job Scotty, Scott Rayom in the 4. Final car on the grid this evening, the General, Andy Patton in the 87. One car starting from the rear tonight from what we know, and that is Scott Rayom in the 4. And no call from Andy Patton to grid once again. So with that being said, we will have 10 cars take the green. So half of the grid are eligible to move up. Pick to win this evening. You know what? Give me B-Temp in that number 31. We'll see how he performs tonight. Top two are not here this evening, so a big race for Steven Fernberg to maybe take advantage of as he starts from pole position. Well, we are ready to go for the second time tonight. It is time to shake and bake. Steve King Foundation pace truck is in. Fernberg and Bixler bring us the green. It's time to get it on. Good start for Fernberg off of turn two. Bixler and Moore side by side for second. Templeton a little bit of a bumper to Bixler. 4 wide again in turn number 4. Just like we saw in the 358 feature. Lap number 1 led by Steven Fernberg. Here comes Brian Moore Sr. wasting no time. Trying to grab the race lead. Trying to send around the bottom. Fernberg is on for right now, but he starts to blink. Templeton making it a 3-car show. Narrow lane, high, wide, and handsome. Can he make the run and grab second off of turn 4? Up the hill goes Ford Sr. The 31 up to second. Christopherson fourth. Bixler rounds out the top 5. Beats up quickest car on the track. On board the 31 as he looks for the race lead on Steven Fernberg. Takes a peek underneath. Does he try the slide jump? Did not get it to work though in his heat race. He may get it to work the feature. Off of turn number 2. Fernberg catches the wall. No contact made whatsoever. Templeton takes lead off of turn number 4 and leads the lap of the line. A 12:28 for B-Top, quickest car on the track without any issues. Let's go to 6th. Cale Bixler and Jason Butterfield racing for the spot. They nearly touch. Maurer sideways off for turn number 4. Bixler, who started second, is faded down to 5th. He wants 4th back from Brian Moore Sr. Dancing with a double off for turn number 4. The Mayor up to P4. Moore Sr. though trying to fight back. See if he can get the exit he needs. Not really. Fernberg still right in the second spot. Christopherson right behind him. Cale Bixler trying to grab the final spot in from Steve. We'll see what he can do on board the 789. Cale hoping that bottom side has come in. Not too sure if he tested during warm-ups. Can he clear Steve off at 2? Not just yet. They both work on Brian Moore Sr. 3-car race for 4th. Trying to go around the outside of Moore Sr. See if that can work. Meanwhile, to work lap number 13. Oh, Steve Maurer off the pace of the 888. There was contact, and I believe it was with Scott Rayol. Right front is spent. Maurer trying to lift that thing to the pits. He should have just pulled off there. Hopefully he does not get in the way of the leaders. If he puts it to a stop, it will bring out the caution flag. He's trying to bring it to pit road safe than sorry. Templeton, meanwhile, leading by 1 second on the money over Clay Christopherson. Putt-Putt's made the move up to second. Right now, your biggest mover up 4 positions. Over here is the hard charger in the open 358 feature. While we were on this long run, let's look at what happened to Scott Riom. I don't know if there was contact with Steve Maurer. Scott went for the slider. Oh, contact with Maurer. Just damaged the right front. Here's the pass by Christopherson on Steven Fernberg for second. Moves on in, lights a little slider from Putt-Putt, and birdies in beautifully. Templeton still out in front. Look at the last 5 laps. Christopherson slower that last time by, but Putt-Putt appears to be the quicker car. So we come to 10 laps to go here at Lanier. Christopherson second, Fernberg third, Cale Bixler fourth, Brian Moore Sr. fifth. Those are the transfer drivers at the moment, pending IL the Renegades. B-Top has opened up the lead just a little bit over Putt-Putt. Now this is the closest battle on the racetrack. Everyone else over a second apart from each other. A different line tried out by Christopherson as he utilizes the bottom. Templeton ripping up the top. Remember, if you use the high side, that'll just use up a lot more of that right rear tire. Putt-Putt's cut the lead down to under a second. Here's the time delta in these last few laps. You can see how it went up a couple laps ago, but now it's gone back down to under a second. That time Putt-Putt just a little bit slower to the last 5. Brenner was able to put up about a 10th or so. We've got 4 laps to go in the feature. Second Rebels feature of the year for B-Temp. First one was at Lima Land, in which he finished second. 3 laps to go. No change amongst the top 5 at the moment. Just no mistakes for B-Temp. He'll come home with the checkered flag. Christopherson trying to see if he's got some more left in the tank. Going to be very tough with a 1 second lead. White flag out under the final lap. So it's Brandon Templeton, the dirt track bank. Got your 6. Racing Network. Hammer Down Racing number 31. Making its way through 3 and 4. B-Temp takes the win at Lanier. Christopherson second, Fernberg third, Cale Bixler fourth, and Brian Moore Sr. fifth. Biggest mover once again, Christopherson up 4 spots to finish second in the end. Here's a look at the results on your screen. So your top 5 get all eligible pending IL. We'll talk with your finishers in just a moment. Well, we got Steven Fernberg in. We'll get right to the proceedings and start with Steven. Steve, nice run for you tonight. Keeping the nose clean and staying up near the front. Take me through it.
Oh, yeah, it was a fun race. I missed this track. And I'm not as good as I used to be here, though. Wish it would have been a little better of a finish, but it happens.
Was this a race that maybe you were trying to take a lot of advantage of with the top 2 in points, Alpha and obviously Morano not able to show up tonight?
I really haven't looked at the points much, to be honest with you, Marty. I might not be here much either because of my son playing sports, so I didn't even really look at the points.
Understandable. Well, hey, regardless though, great run. Got the chance to move to Renegades pending IL. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
I want to give a shout out to you guys for the broadcast, Salty Dogs, my team, American Dirt Motorsports, and all the sponsors over there.
Alrighty. We'll let you go, Steven. Great job tonight, and hopefully we see you in the Renegades.
All right, thank you, Marty.
Fernberg finishing third. Got no sight of Christopherson just yet. So let's go right to the winner here, Brandon Templeton. B-Temp, we haven't seen you in a little bit this season. But hey, you finally got a win done. Congratulations. Up. You got us, Brandon? It says your mic is on, but we can't hear you. Nope, still got nothing from Brandon. Brandon, you copy? Actually, you know what? I'm going to try one more thing. All right, nope, he's working on it. I wonder if he's figuring that out at the same time. All right, let's try B-Temp now. Brandon, you got us?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you perfectly. All right, great win tonight. Take me through it.
First of all, I got to thank Brian Dickens for providing a sweet setup. I mean, I don't usually drive sprint cars, so I don't know all the ins and outs and tricks and what to do in them, but I tell you what, I kept it damn near full throttle the whole time and held the wheel, and it got there. So hats off to him. He deserves a lot of the credit.
That low line looked like it worked really well for you, especially when you made the race-winning pass. I believe that was on Fernberg, if I recall correctly. Take me through this. Like it was like a small slider off of turn 2.
Yeah, he had the top running pretty good, but I knew you could dive it down in there, and clear a guy if you needed to. And followed him for a couple laps and got a little momentum, and tried some stuff on the bottom there with Bixler, and it didn't really stick. So when I got up behind Fernberg, I knew I had to kind of dive it and make it happen there. So just try to go for it and hoped it cleared, and it seemed to stick pretty good and pulled away from there. So we'll take it.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to on the win?
I got to thank Jay with Dirt Track Bank and Malvern Bank. Go to dirttrack.bank for all your banking needs. It helps him give all kinds of awesome loans to racers, national stage, local stage, everywhere. Thanks to Extreme Images, Maley's Makery, Big C's Lawn Care, you for doing an awesome stream. Monday nights is always fun to watch. So appreciate the effort that goes into that. And it's pretty cool to watch it back and watch it live for families. So appreciate that. Thanks to everyone with Coast to Coast and everyone watching. Thanks.
All right, we'll let you go, Tom. Congratulations on the win. Well done tonight.
Thank you.
Brandon Templeton taking the win here tonight in the Rebels. When we come back, Renegades time on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Stay with us. It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion, trying to be a
Bit of a hiatus, so let's get.
Tonight we talked about it.
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Welcome back to the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Marty Sakala with you as it's Renegades time. We're excited for this one. Renegades is brought to you by our friends at Flatline Racing Bodies. Well, been a fun season so far when it comes to racing and long run wise. But so far in the year, we have had a total of 3 different winners. They're in the top 3 in points: Blake Chapman, Anthony Morano, and Joseph Grandy. Last week, we had Anthony Morano take the win at Lernerville. Was a phenomenal running from him in the Renegade event, and that puts him second in points, obviously not here this evening. Here's a look at the top 5 in points. Coming on in as Morano is back on Blake Chapman, the salesman, 432 to 386. Joseph Grandy riding in third with 365 points. Patrick Spangler currently 4th with 345 points. And Jeff Barker rounding out the top 5 at 305 points. Again, we are at the halfway point here in the season. See who's checking in the chat. Hollow checking in. Hope you're doing well, man. Wishes everyone the best of luck tonight. See if we look at a couple of drivers here, and I think the only one right now, I believe they're doing the drivers meeting, I think Stan. Terry Landis getting some laps in. In the 161. Take a look at practice times here at the moment and how things currently lie so far. Patton the quickest, 11:2:38. Bobby Good second, 11:30. Stephen Goldner third at the 11:33. Patrick Spangler fourth, 11:36, alongside Jeff Barker. Just about moments away from getting things going with our top division of the night. And I guess while we are at it, let's talk about the schedule for what is coming up this week on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Tomorrow night, we've got Retreads Tuesday with 360s at Eldora, DW12s at Daytona, and Xfinity Series at Las Vegas, a Tuesday night special. How the second eye race, we'll have the coverage tomorrow, game at 7 p.m. Hometown Heroes Wednesday night on Shaggy TV with our 305s, 360s, and midgets at Lernerville. Thursday night, Thursday Night Thunder at Lernerville. FFTV's got the modifieds and Pro Late models at Lernerville by Shaggy TV. With Then next Monday, we're back with you at Charlotte for Monday Night Madness. That's our final race before we begin Super Dirt Week for Honor House. Our sponsors for each night. Tuesday night brought to you by Regency Home Inspections. Wednesday night brought to you by Velocity Race Design. And Thursday night brought to you by Glen Ridge Motorsports. Got Brad Wade on the track, the 814. And now Wade currently 9th quickest. I believe we may have some more time before we get going, because I believe the session is not supposed to start until 8:30. So let's talk a little bit about Super Dirt Modified Week, and then we'll go over one final time. Those who remember what Honor House is, a refuge home away from home for members of our Canadian Armed Forces, vets, emergency services personnel, and their families to stay free of charge while they're receiving medical care and treatment in the Metro Vancouver area. They're brave individuals that sacrifice so much on a daily basis to protect our freedom and everyday way of life. Small blocks will be 75 lap feature, big blocks 100 lap. And anyone with an iRacing account and dirt iRating below 3,000. Payouts for the top 5. All entries are eligible for the many donated door prizes, with 60 spots available for each division under the Super Dirt Week format that is normally run by Dirt Car every October at Oswego. We will have a couple of provisionals up for grabs with our Vets and First Responders race and Coast to Coast volunteer races. Started a little talk about it with Dean Reynolds yesterday, getting ready to go for next week. And right now, we've got a great car count when it comes to center. I believe about 35 entries preparing for the event next week, which is very awesome to see. Dean's got a special scheme. I saw the 76 has a nice scheme coming. Ryland Banks. Isaac Salas has a nice special scheme with Honor House on his roof. With a couple of awesome partners as well in it. Some of those partners, besides Slide Job Racing Network and Shaggy TV, also including Flieger Farm and Television. Adam Flieger with a nice amount donated. Just Racing Boys presenting the Hard Charger for $15. We'll also be having another commentator on the call besides Zach and myself, Robert Hill Jr., who is also a part of iRacing as well. He's the announcer at Mohawk and Cornwall Motor Speedway. One of my good friends amongst announcers, and he does a great job when it comes to calling races. So you guys will definitely enjoy his work and his announcing. You will hear him when the Lord of Outlaws go to Cornwall, when the Super Dirt Car Series goes to both Cornwall and Mohawk. Here we go with qualifying. First driver on the track. We'll pull up Bob DeGood in the number 7 Visa ride. 3 minutes to qualify. Put up a lap. And we are underway. Lap times will pop up on your screen. DeGood sets the bar here in qualifying. We'll see if anyone has a purple. Jack Hit on the top, 11.847. Stephen Goldner now, 11.774. Joseph Grandy, purple in sector 2. He's quick time at 11.765, the 518. Ryan Morse, senior, second quickest. Patrick Spangler to the top of the charts with 11.703. Jeff Barker in the 5.813, 11.834 on lap number 1. Second lap time for the Burlington Beast. Is it quicker? No, 12.209 and 6th. Blake Chapman, third quick though on lap number 1, 11.743. Second lap for the Salesman across the line, just a bit slower. Lap number 2, 11.854. Let's go to the Goose. Chad Cote working lap number 2. Lap 1 time, 11.865 and 12th spot. His second lap could be a bit quicker. We'll see, and it is 11.830 to 8th. Dean Reynolds working lap number 1 in the Wild Child scheme. Jack Hodenshield in the 79, lap 1, 11.916, good for 16th. Better though in sector 1 on lap number 2, making its way off of turn number 4 in the orange in Sector 2. Better lap though? No, 11:98, 16th quickest. Have just over a minute left in qualifying. 4 drivers have yet to put a lap up. That is Ross Corinna, Clay Christopherson, Brandon Dittmer, and Terry Landis. Now we know Landis is getting a heat EOL, so he won't take a lap. So we'll see if the other 3 decide to go for a lap or if they'll start from the back. Got 40 seconds left in qualifying. So Spangler the quickest, 11:7:03. Steven Goldner second, 11:7:12. Blake Chapman third, 11:7:43. Joseph Grandy fourth with 11:7:65. And Brian Moore Sr. fifth, 11:7:72. Looks like we got no more takers here for laps. Good car count though with 22 drivers checking in tonight. So with that, that'll put Renegades qualifying in the books. Remember, we invert the top 4 prior to each heat. So Spangler starts 4th in heat race number 1. Should be 3 heats tonight, if I would expect, and it will be 3 heats of 8, 7, and 7. Heat 1 brought to you by Gambler Motorsports. Here's a look at the starting lineup. The Brad Wade on the pole in the 814. Next to him, it's Rick Main, who finished second in the Open 358s. Main in the 187. Row number 2, 100 grand, our Open 358 winner earlier tonight, Joseph Grandy, the 518. Next to him, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler in the 39. Row 3, Bob DeGood driving car number 7. Next to him, Dean Reynolds in the 79. Final row tonight, Putt Putt, Clay Christopherson, our hard charger in our first 2 races of the year. Next to him, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, the 161. The mayor checking in, Steve Bixler, rooting for Sergeant Major. Hollow, we're doing okay. As always, he's rooting for Chad Cote, the Goose. So 1 more lap until we take the green flag. Everyone makes the show with our car count this evening. The winner starts on the pole for the feature. 3 drivers not taking the green. Patrick Spangler, Joseph Grandy, and Clay Christopherson. We know Spangler and Chevrolet like to take part of the back-to-front battle. I think Grandy's going to do the same thing. Set for heat 1. 5 cars taking the green. We're underway. Right away, getting a little bit sideways entering turn number 1. Main with a great exit off the corner. Reynolds following suit in 3rd. DeGood low, same with Landis. That's 4th and 5th. Lap 1, too close to call. But Main with the 3rd corner in 1 and 2. He's got it off the corner and takes the lead and clears Brad Wade. Reynolds closing in on the 814 in the race for the 2nd spot. We're all pretty much single file out at this point. Here comes Reynolds underneath for 2nd on the 814. Does he get it to stick? Not just yet. No quickest car on the track in 11:78 after 4 laps. We're already halfway home, 4 up and 4 down. Reynolds looking for that bite off of turn 2. Doesn't work there. Really touching from right away. This is on board the 79 of Dean Reynolds. Know that Breadweight knows from his spotter that Breadweight's 2 is outside. Almost made the pass work that time. They stay wing to wing and return number 3. This does allow DeGood to close in at the same time. White flag waves, final lap underway in heat 1. Made the Inferno Motorsports 187. Finished 2nd in the Open 350s tonight. Here he comes out for 4. He's on the pole for the Renegades. May takes the win, and I think he just ran out of fuel. So measured it perfectly. Wade 2nd, Reynolds 3rd, DeGood 4th, and Landis 5th. We We now move on to heat race number 2, presented by Regency Home Inspection. Steven Fernberg on the pole, driving car number 29. Next to him, the Goose, Jack Cote, in the 11. Row 2, Brian Moore Sr. in the 055, and next to him, it's Stephen Goldner driving car number 30. Row 3, the Pink Panther, Jesse X in the 127, and Barry Goldner's to his outside in the 36. Riding out the field, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83. Everyone taking the green here for heat race number 2. Brought to you by Regency Home Inspections. Renegades brought to you by Flatline Racing Bodies, proud partner of the Chapmans, as well as the Renegades division in the Coast to Coast Racing League and Monday Night Madness. Here we come to the ring for Heat 2. Winner starts outside of the front row. Here we go. 3 wide for the second position. Here comes Cote, trying to grab the race lead from Stephen Fernberg early. Goldner following the 11 as they come off of turn 4, staying 2 by 2. Cote leads lap number 1. Canadians top 2 for right now with Fernberg, the American, in third. 3 Canadians, 4 Americans battling out in this second heat race. Stephen Goldner trying to take the lead away from Jack Cote. Goldner, slide, job the lead on the Goose. Cote counters at the 11, still leading for now. We did have the fast lap moments go to 11:91. Here comes Stephen, another slide job in turns number 3 and 4. This time, Goldner able to clear, he takes the lead as we're halfway through heat 2. Still third, Brian Moore Sr. fourth. Everyone again makes the show no matter what. This is all determining starting position this evening. Here comes Jesse Atkinson. The Pink Panther from the 127 can't slot in line for 4th. Just in a different groove while everyone else working the top shelf. Trying to follow the 127. He tries a slider, doesn't really work out for him. Final lap though, underway in heat 2, and it's for the driver of his own team, Stephen Goldner, in the Stephen Goldner Racing number 30 Ford Tire Company ride off the corner. He starts on the front row this evening at Lanier. Cote second, Fernberg third, Atkinson fourth, Moore fifth, Dittmer sixth, and Barry Goldner in 7th. One more heat race left to go, brought to you by Maurer Farm Management. It's the Generals on the pole, Andy Patton in the 87. Next to him, the Bird to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. Row number 2, Gentleman Jack Head in the 217. And the Salesman Blake Chapman next to him, starting 4th, but won't take the green here, I would expect, so we can try the back-to-front challenge. Sergeant Major Cale Bixler starting 5th in the 789. Next to him, the Boss, Ross Corina in car number 10. Rounding out the grid, Shorty, John Short in the 51. Final heat race of the night before we go feature racing. Winner starts inside of row number 2. Patton and Barker set to bring us to green. Final heat race is underway. Wing to wing for second, Hit and Barker, while Keel Bixler following the 513 the outside, and same for John Short. Lap 1 led by Andy Patton. Chapman and Corinna each do not take the green flag here. And looking for second on Barker, able to clear the 513. Skill Bixler looking on John Short for the 4th spot. They're side by side here for number 1 and 2. Short, in fact, quickest car at the moment. The 12:10, it's we're halfway done for now. Jack Hitt, Jeff Barker, each hitting their best laps of the race that last time by him for 12:11. With the general, Andy Patton trying to pull away and start 3rd here tonight. He's shown great speed and strength in the Rebels for a good start spot in Renegade. Short now, 12:06, but it's just so tough to pass here. 2 laps to go. Now making the white flag. 1 lap to go for Andy Patton. Half-second lead on Jack Hitt. Off for 4, Short looking for a run. He got 3rd from Jeff Barker after a pair of drivers ran out of fuel. Patton takes the win. Hitt 2nd, Short 3rd, Barker 4th, Bixler 5th. So that'll do it for us. When we come back, featured time on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. back here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network as we get ready to go for feature time. Right now, warm-up's wrapping up. Rick Mayne, the quickest driver on track at a 12:07. John Short second, 12:14. Patrick Spangler third at a 12:19. Jack Hitt fourth at a 12:22. Andy Patton and Stephen Goldner each at a 12:24. So we're in for a good finish here to the night. Hopefully we cap it off with a bang, which normally the Renegades drivers do so well at. Well, we're ready for the final feature of the night. Thanks for spending your Monday night with us. Here's a look at tonight's starting lineup. On the pole, Rick Mayne in the 187. Next to him, Stephen Goldner in the 30. Row 2, the General, Andy Patton in the 87, and Brad Waite in the 814. Row 3, the Goose, Jack Cote in the 11, and gentleman, Jack Hitt, he's in the 217. Row number 4, Dean Reynolds in the 79. Dino's next to Stephen Fernberg in the 29. Rounding out the top 10 this evening, John Short driving the 51, and Bob DeGood in the 7. Row 6, the Pink Panther, Jesse X in the 127, and the Bird to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. Row number 7, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis in the 161, and Brian Moore Sr. in the 55. Row 8, Cale Bixler, Sergeant Major in the 789, and Joseph Grandy Hundergren in the 518. Row 9, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83, and the salesman Blake Chapman in the 20. Row 10, the High Side Banger, Patrick Spangler in the 39, and next to him, Barry Goldner in the 36. Final row tonight, you've got Rusk, the Boss, Corinna in the 10, and Pup Puck Clay Kristaps in the 51, but no call to grid this evening. Pick to win here this evening, I'm going to go with Stephen Goldner. He looked really fast in his heat race, so give me the driver of the number 30 tonight. Final feature of the night, 35 laps for the Renegades as we begin the second half of the spring season. Steve King Foundation will make the left-hand turn to pit road. For the final time tonight, it is time to shake and bake. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now, from coast to coast? It's showtime at Lanier. Good start from Rick Mayne as we take the Flatline Racing Bodies green flag. Mayne leading, Goldner second, Patton third, battle for fourth, Jack Cote and Dean Reynolds. Here comes the 79, excuse me, the 30, look for the race lead on Rick Mayne, making his way through turns number 3 and 4. Slide job from Stephen Goldner, he takes it, Mayne tries to counter it back, the 30 takes the lead. Now Rick Mayne trying to run the bottom in smoothly, able to clear Stephen Goldner off of turn number 2. Immediately switching to the high side. Rick Mayne taking the lead back here on lap number 3. They go back and forth. Then we got a Hornet's Nest for third. Dean Reynolds up on the bottom step of the podium. Pat Cote and Andy Patton. Bob DeGood also up there as well in 6-8 with Brad Waite and John Short. Good following the General off to turn number 2. Side by side for the 7th spot. Brad Waite and John Short. Clear the 51, move up to 7th. Now looks sets his sights on Bob DeGood for 6th. On board the 814. Right in front of him, I believe that is Patton in the 87, and it is. Rick Mayne, quickest car on the track, 12:44. He's already opened it up to a 1.4 second lead on the 30. One makes you wonder if Stephen could be saving early here in the process in what's a long race. Reynolds, meanwhile, is caught the 30 of Stephen Goldner just a couple moments ago, had second for a moment. DeGood wants the spot back from Brandon Waite. Oh, Short touches with DeGood. The 7 clips the wall. No harm, no foul. Everyone keeps it clean. We stay green. Jesse Exon around the outside. He tries to go 2 for 1. The Pink Panther up to 7. Oh, big crash, one car upside down. That's on the 79 of Cale Bixner. And Steven Fernberg also involved. We've got, I believe, our first flip of the night. Took us this long, by the way, to finally get our flip. Here's what happened to Cale. Oh, he got eaten. Joseph Granny, unfortunately, Common and Fernberg sets up the barrel roll. Nowhere to go. Going forward with Cale. Double fire restart coming up here with Rick Main out in front, selects the inside line. Main leads, Goldner second, Reynolds third, Cote fourth, and Andy Patton rounds out the top five. We'll go 11 laps through here when we take the green flag. Main on the bottom, fires, nice timing from Steven Goldner as we're back to green. Main immediately back on the outside, but Goldner diamonding off the corner, gets a really good exit. Main, a little bit sideways, you can see the wheels moving to the back straight. A slider from Steven Goldner, the 30 back out in front. Main with the counter back, they're trading the lead here at Lanier. Dino says it's my turn to play. 3 wide for fourth, Cote moves up to the spot. Dino by himself underneath. I don't know if he'll be able to get that to work. He slots back in line. We're still 3 wide. This time it was for Fett. Patton's the one stuck up in the middle. You also got, I think, the good stuck in the middle. There's Blake Chapman. He's up 9 spots into 9. And we're already on lap number 15. But Goldner, meanwhile, still charging on Rick Main, following suit for the lead. Main, you saw the sparks fly as he caught the wall with the tail take. That may have actually helped him out at the same time, too. The Goose, meanwhile, Chad Cote. Through, he goes up to third. Oh, someone up the wall off for 4. Oh, that was John Short. He may have damaged the right front of it. The ball is good, but he lost a lot of time. He and Bobby Gunn each fade down to 14th and 13th, respectively. Meanwhile, we got a mess here for Fett, Atkinson, Wade, Patton, Chapman and Detmer also are part of this. Same with Ross Carino, who are each high movers throughout the night. Oh, Patton really sideways, trying to get low. Oh, look who's behind him. Blake Chapman says hello. Stuck in that 8th position. He and Ross Carino each up 10 spots tonight. 15 to go now for Rick Main. Lead still at a half second over Steven Goldner. And he is starting to approach lap truck. That's Barry Goldner in the 36, who he may try and help out. Back up the battle just around the top 5. Blake, get past Andy Patton for 7th. He can. Next target, we're in wait for 6th. Work lap number 23 of 35 where Blake comes across the line. Blake, the series points leader, looking for win 4 of the season. No Morano tonight. Joseph Granny not having the best tonight so far. Yellow flag waves for the 2nd time tonight. And it's for Ross Carino and Patrick Spangler and Joseph Grandy. A couple of guys that like to go for the hard charger have had big implications come to them tonight. Here's a look at what happened to the boss. Rides the wall in 3 and 4. Spangler in front, nowhere to go, and around they both go. Saving it for now. Spangler gets on two-wheel. Ooh, and net code caught Joseph Granny as Carino was getting towed. A couple of drivers to watch here. We'll go Patrick Spangler. He was lifting for Corinna, just had nowhere to go. And then you saw Brian Moore Sr. file in. Watch the onboard with Joseph Granny. These are just things you hate to see. First, he got the wall in turn 4. All is good, net code. Bad luck. Strikes Grandy again in the Renegades. We'll go for the aerial shot as we come back to green with 11 laps to play. It's going to be 12 laps to play. Main again on the bottom. How much tire does he have? Blake Chapman restarting 6th. Can he come through this field? Contact between Cote and Reynolds. Jesse Atkinson trying to break into the podium. 3 wide for 3rd. And Rick Main has Stephen Goldner cleared. And Goldner got the wall. Dino, thread the needle. 3 wide for 2nd. Contact between the 79 and the 127. Everybody hanging on for right now. Dino flips the wall. Here comes Stephen Goldner back underneath. Seathrow puts the slider on the 79. Stephen back up to 2nd. And we got 10 laps remaining. Blake in 4th. Did he get past Jesse Exon for 3rd? Dean still stuck in 5th. Cote down to 6th. Brandon Dittmer making his way up in 8th. Now you get 7 past Fred Waite. That is the case, but look at Blake. He's trying to come through back on the podium. But Dean says, I want some of that popcorn too. No, they nearly make contact. 7 laps to go. See if Rick Main, who finished 2nd in the Open 350, is to get his first Renegades win of the season. Meanwhile, just so many lanes to race around. It's been so much fun to watch with the battle outside the top 2. Can Blake hop his way onto the podium tonight? For Rick Main, he's got 4 laps to go next time he comes across the line. Only has 1 career Renegades win that came back in August last year at Fallujah Speedway Park. Other than that, he's got 4 other podiums. We would love to end the winless drought. Look at this race for 2nd. Goldner's got company. Chapman and Atkinson, 3 wide for the runner-up spot. Stephen catches the wall. Far wide off the corner. 3 laps to go. Rick Main's got no idea what he's missing. Atkinson, through he goes up to 2nd. 2 laps to go. We may have to keep an eye on this battle here at the end. Goldner trying to rebound. Jesse right in the bottom. Been working out really well with the tires this evening. Here they come off in turn 4. White flag, 1 lap to go. Blake threw up to 2nd, nipped him at the line. Oh, Atkinson caught the wall, around he goes. Right in front of Jack Head. Meanwhile, off in turn number 4. Rick May, checkered flag. First one since August, he wins the Renegades. 2nd is Blake Chapman edges out Stephen Goldner at the line by 700ths. That was awesome to watch tonight. Damn it, if you don't like that, you don't like sprint car racing. Get out of here. Well, let's watch the heartbreak of the night, which, without doubt, Jesse Atkinson. Too low, caught the inside wall, and look at this, Jack hit, boom, nowhere to go. Same with Terry Landis. Jesse would limp across the line in 16th, and look at the cushion there. Holy moly, the camera glitching because of that. So we show you the results on the screen. By the way, Blake the biggest mover from 18th to 2nd. Forgot to mention that. Brandon Dittmer up 17 of 11 spots to finish 6th. We got some extra racing going on between Short, Fernberg, and Barry Goldner for fun. See the rest of the results here from tonight. Everyone in here with us, we'll go to Steven Goldner finishing third. Steven, dang. That was a phenomenal battle at the end for second. How much fun was this race from your perspective?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I wish we had a little bit more speed, but after missing a bunch of weeks and not being able to run the full features because it was that big track and we had to go to work, we're lucky. I still got a half hour before I gotta get ready to go to work today. So happy to get this one done. Happy to run on the podium. We were one spot short last week, so really happy to get it done and run third tonight to two really fast cars. I wish we could find some more speed. Hopefully next week we can.
Well, you had the lead for a lap, and then actually maybe 2 laps, I believe, and then Rick got it back from you. Were you maybe trying to save a little tire early on the going?
I honestly, Rick was so good. I think I just got a really good start and could pound the top 1 and 2, get a good run. I think I slid in 3 and 4 and was able to hold on for a lap, and then he got himself back together and drove back by me and drove away. So they definitely got their stuff figured out over at Inferno, and congrats to them.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Everyone at SGR, my dad for racing me with me tonight. Hopefully Lacey and Moonin are back next week. Those guys too, they put in a lot of work. Moonin Racing Engines, Moon Talco, you guys for the broadcast, and everyone with Coast to Coast Racing Leagues.
Well, we'll let you go. Great job tonight, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next week.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks, Marty.
Steven Goldner finishing third. To second we go to the salesman, Blake Chapman getting her done. Blake, a nice run for you tonight, coming up through the field. Walk me through it, and how tough was it getting through at the same time with how many lanes there were on this track?
Yeah, that was a really fun race, but there was a lot of close calls in there. I felt like there was a lot of contact between me and other cars. I still ended up with 0 incidents though, which was really, really nice. But yeah, I could use multiple lines. The bottom, middle, the middle, the top. The top was there too at times. So it was a really racy racetrack, which I'm not usually a big fan of this track, but tonight I felt like it was really good. And kind of game plan to run that bottom lane. I had a lot of gear in it, had 612s in there, and I just couldn't run the bottom very consistently. I wasn't very good down there. So, shout out to Jesse. He was running that thing really, really well. He was running it better than I could tonight. But, we ran that middle, and with so much gear in it, it was tough because guys could get a better drive into the corners because I had to let out of it earlier because I was already spinning the tires really bad. And then, I had to be really careful coming out of the corners, getting on the gas. So it was definitely a challenge tonight, but I felt like, outside of the gear, the car felt really good. Felt like I could move around quite a bit. So, definitely happy to come home with a second place finish.
Yeah, great run for you tonight. Shout out some popcorn for us.
Absolutely. First, I got to thank the family for watching. Of course, I got to thank all the guys out of KSR, especially John and Terry for running with me tonight. I've got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and 88AJ Custom Creations. I got to thank Steve down at Steve's Custom Golf Clubs. I got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring tonight. And, of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. You know better than anybody, Marty. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website, and don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 50% off some of their very delicious popcorn. I got to thank everyone involved in putting this league on, and I got to thank you for broadcasting, Marty.
All righty, man. Well, hey, great run tonight. Extend the points lead once again. Congratulations on a second-place finish.
Thanks, Marty.
Blake gets it done here, and now we go to victory lane. His first win in the Renegades since August, Rick May. And you really are a sprint car guy, man. I thought you were getting used to this modified stuff by now, but nope. Got to win a dominant one in Renegades.
Yeah, man, I'm super pumped to be here and talk to you twice in one night. It's always an exciting night for me, Marty.
Not a bad race between you and Steven, especially on restarts, man.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking there, and I was telling him, I wasn't expecting him to get those. He was timing my restarts really good. Normally, I feel like I'm a better restarter than that, but he had my number tonight, and he was able to snooker me there a couple of times. But I was living or dying there for a while by the top. I was like, go ahead, we'll see.
Were they? Did any of them happen to tell you about the race going on for second at the end?
No. Was it a good one?
Oh, you missed a good one. But hey. You had the better view though. The better view out in front with the clean air. So, but anyway, Next week, Charlotte, how you feeling going on in?
What'd you say, Charlotte?
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of my better tracks. I always like Charlotte. I haven't ran there in a month or two, but I always love Charlotte, so excited.
Good to hear, man. Well, hey, a great run. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Just all my guys at Inferno. We talked and everybody was on tonight, and we're gonna move our program forward. So excited for that, and D&T Designs, Highline Cinematography, all my guys at Henkel Homes. Just the whole C2C community, and Marty, you guys for putting the broadcast on. I love going back and watching this stuff later.
Well, congratulations, your first Renegades win since August. Enjoy it. Well done tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, Marty.
Rick Main gets the win. Renegades' first one of the season, obviously. And a great run tonight for the man that started on the pole. So we will talk with you next week at Charlotte for Monday Night Madness. It's the final Coast to Coast Race League event before Super Dirt Modified Week next Tuesday through Thursday at the Oswego Speedway. You don't want to miss out on it. We're looking forward to a fun week next week. So thanks for joining us on this Monday night as we bid you adieu on behalf of everyone at the Coast to Coast Race League, all the fine drivers and sponsors and admins. I'm Marty Sakala saying so long. Your winners here tonight at Lanier Raceway. Congratulations to Joseph Grandy in Open 358s. In the Renegades, Rick Main, and in the Rebels, dang, I got to look back on the Rebels, but congrats to all the winners here this evening. Apologies on whoever won the Rebels. I forgot. Oh, yeah, Steve, I think it was, nope, never mind. Forget about it. I'm sorry. So long, everyone. We'll talk to you all soon. In